Our story begins in the bustling streets of Freetown, Sierra Leone's capital city, in a modest home where a baby girl, Mabinti Bangura, was born into a world ravaged by civil war. On January 6, 1995, as the blood-red sun set, an ecstatic mother, Amina, cradled her newborn, whispering promises of love and protection, while her father, Hassan, looked on with a mix of joy and sorrow. Hassan was a man of strength and principle, a local tradesman respected by his peers. Amina, a compassionate and nurturing woman, had been a school teacher before the war erupted. She yearned for the days when her daughter could attend school, much like the one she used to teach. But their dreams were abruptly extinguished when the war knocked at their doorsteps. One fateful night, rebel forces, driven by power and greed, invaded their peaceful neighborhood. Amid the chaos, the sounds of gunfire echoed, piercing the air like a malignant symphony. Hassan was murdered, his life cruelly snuffed out, leaving Amina and Mabinti defenseless. In the aftermath, the city was a ghost of its former self, and hunger and fever soon claimed Amina's life, leaving Mabinti an orphan at a tender age. Every single night, Mabinti could feel her mother's touch, hear her lullabies, but the harsh morning light always reminded her of the stark reality. Mabinti's uncle Idris, a stern and rigid man, took her in grudgingly. Mabinti was a stark reminder of his fallen brother, a wound that refused to heal. He saw her as a burden, an unwanted responsibility. Idris, who had his own family to feed, handed Mabinti over to an orphanage, promising her that this was a new start. The orphanage was a dilapidated building on the city outskirts, filled with children whose laughter had been replaced by a resigned silence. The matron, a stern woman named Mrs. Conte, gave Mabinti a once-over and, without even a hint of warmth, assigned her the number 27, a number meant for the least favored child. Mabinti's life in the orphanage was marked by hardship. Meals were scarce, beds were shared, and affection was a luxury no one could afford. The number 27 soon began to define her existence, a constant reminder of her place in this world. But within her heart, she held onto her parents' memories and the love they had for her, a beacon of hope in her darkest hours. "Little Mabinti, you must remember," Mrs. Conte would often reiterate, her voice cold and detached, "here, you are no more than a number." But Mabinti was not one to be suppressed. Even at her young age, she understood that her spirit was not defined by a number or her circumstances. She was her father's courage and her mother's hope. As the days turned into weeks, Mabinti found herself waiting for an unknown tomorrow. Unbeknownst to her, fate was crafting a story that would challenge her but also offer her a chance to rise. In the depths of despair, she had no idea of the transformation that awaited her. And so, our story unfolds with the first whispers of a turning tide, leaving the reader eagerly awaiting the next chapter in Mabinti's extraordinary journey. In the heart of Sierra Leone, within the weathered walls of the orphanage, the children were bound by their shared tragedies and numbered identities. Number 27, our young Mabinti, soon discovered a new challenge: vitiligo. As if the loss of her parents and the grim realities of her life weren't enough, patches of her dark skin began to lose their color, becoming pale islands in an otherwise uniform sea. The first patch had appeared as a tiny spot on her wrist. Mabinti recalled staring at it curiously, the white dot standing stark against her dark skin. As days turned into weeks, the spot grew, spreading like an uncontrollable wildfire. The disease left an indelible mark not just on her skin but her soul, making her stand out in a place where conformity was the only solace. Prejudice made its ugly presence known as the other children began to distance themselves from her. Hurtful nicknames and teasing became a daily routine. The more her skin changed, the more isolated she became. Even Mrs. Conte looked at her with a wary eye, her lips pressed in a grim line. "The Lord works in mysterious ways, number 27, she said one day, her voice barely concealing the distaste. Perhaps, this is a test. While her vitiligo set her apart, it also drew her to another girl in the orphanage, Mabinti, or number 26. Number 26 was a tiny girl with a fiery spirit. Her right leg was shorter than the left, a birth defect that made her walk with a limp. Like Mabinti, number 26 had faced her share of ridicule and isolation, marking them both as outsiders. "You know what, number 27?" Number 26 said one afternoon as they sat under the lone mango tree. "Our differences make us unique, not less." Those words marked the beginning of an unlikely friendship. Despite their numbered identities, the two Mabintis found solace in each other's company. They shared dreams, laughter, and tears, offering each other the warmth that was sorely missing from their lives. One day, number 26 found a piece of charcoal and started drawing on a discarded piece of cardboard. The scribbles took shape, revealing the face of a girl, her skin patchy, just like Mabinti's, but with a smile that could outshine the sun. "See, number 27? It's you," she said, her eyes gleaming. "And you're beautiful." In that simple drawing, Mabinti saw herself as number 26 did. Despite her patchy skin, she was not less, but unique and beautiful. That realization sparked a fire within her, fueling her courage and resilience. She was more than number 27. She was Mabinti, her father's courage, her mother's hope, and now, number 26's friend. As the sun began to set, the two girls found themselves dreaming of a better tomorrow, their hearts filled with a newfound strength. Little did they know, fate was already setting the stage for the next part of their journey. And so, we leave our two Mabintis under the fading light, two bright stars in a sea of darkness, eagerly awaiting the next chapter of their remarkable journey. Life at the orphanage meandered along with the rhythm of monotonous days and sleepless nights until an unexpected gust of wind brought a change. It carried with it a battered, almost unrecognizable magazine, its pages dancing in the Sierra Leone sun. The image on the cover had been worn by the elements, but the figure of a woman, balanced on her toes with the elegance of a swan, caught Mabinti's eyes. The ballerina, forever frozen in her graceful pirouette, danced her way into Mabinti's heart. Mabinti found herself drawn to the picture, the woman's lithe figure and confident poise captivating her young mind. There was a unique strength in the ballerina's stance, an expressive beauty that spoke to Mabinti's own struggles and dreams. She didn't understand the foreign words beneath the picture, but she didn't need to. The image was a language in itself, a language of dreams. She shared this newfound wonder with number 26. Under the same mango tree where they had formed their bond, the two girls pored over the magazine, their imaginations taking flight with the ballerina's leaps and spins. "She's like a bird," number 26 observed. "Free and powerful." "Yes, and beautiful," Mabinti added, her fingers tracing the faded image. "I want to be like her." In the safety of their friendship, a dream was born. Mabinti wanted to become a ballerina, to dance like the woman in the picture, with grace, strength, and freedom. The dream seemed audacious, even ridiculous in their war-torn reality, but it gave Mabinti a purpose, a beacon of hope that illuminated the gloomy confines of her world. The dream had barely taken root when a deafening blast ripped through their world. The shelter was bombed in an overnight attack, a dreadful testament to the Civil War's relentless cruelty. The two Mabintis survived, but their sanctuary was reduced to rubble. Suddenly, they found themselves amongst other displaced children, journeying to a refugee camp. The fear and uncertainty were overwhelming, yet Mabinti clung to the magazine, its image of the ballerina a symbol of her unyielding dream. The refugee camp was a world away from their life at the orphanage. The faces were new, but the stories were painfully familiar, tales of loss, fear, and hopelessness. Yet, amidst the despair, Mabinti held onto her dream. Even in her darkest moments, she imagined herself dancing, her body moving with the same grace and strength as the woman in the picture. The magazine with the ballerina became her refuge, a sanctuary within her tumultuous reality. It was a source of hope, a spark that kept her dream alive even when everything around her seemed to conspire against it. She held onto the belief that she was more than just number 27, more than a war orphan. She was Mabinti, a dreamer, and one day, she would dance just like the ballerina in the wind. From the moment the plume of dust from the approaching vehicle danced into sight, an undercurrent of anticipation washed over the refugee camp. the arrival of strangers was always a moment of nervous excitement. Anxiety coiled around hope. When Elaine de Prince stepped out of the car, she became an unlikely beacon in this grim landscape. Elaine, a woman from New Jersey, arrived with a heart full of hope and compassion. The sun highlighted her red hair as it glowed like a halo, her eyes brimming with kindness. She walked through the camp, her gaze taking in the harsh reality of the surroundings with a quiet strength. It was amongst this throng of faces that Elaine's eyes met Mabinti's. The depth of her gaze seemed to recognize something within the young girl. The quiet resilience, the unyielding hope. Her eyes moved to the magazine clutched tightly in Mabinti's hands, and a soft smile curved her lips. She knelt down in front of Mabinti, her hands gently touching the worn-out cover of the magazine. "A ballerina," she said softly, the corners of her eyes crinkling. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Her voice carried the soft cadences of a lullaby, soothing and warm. Mabinti nodded, the spark of a dream flickering in her eyes. Here was someone who didn't see just a refugee, but a young girl with dreams and aspirations. Not far from Mabinti, number 26 watched the exchange with apprehension, her heart thudding with an unfamiliar rhythm. As Elaine moved towards her, she recoiled slightly. But Elaine's kindness broke through her fears, her voice offering reassurances that seemed to soothe the fear etched on the young girl's face. Over the course of several days, Elaine spent time with the two Mabintis. She learned about their past, their dreams, and their unique bond. They weren't just numbers in an orphanage anymore. They were Mia and Michaela, unique individuals with their own stories to tell, their own dreams to chase. And so, Elaine made a choice. She would provide these two girls a home, a safe haven away from the ravages of war, an opportunity to turn their dreams into reality. It wasn't a decision made lightly, but one forged in the crucible of shared stories, mutual respect, and emerging affection. As the papers were signed and preparations made, Mia and Michaela were on the cusp of a new life. The refugee camp, their home for such a long period, was about to become a memory. They were not just leaving behind a place, but also the stigma of being orphans and refugees. As they boarded the car that would take them away from Sierra Leone, they looked back at the camp one last time, their past etched in the dust. Ahead was the promise of a new beginning, a journey filled with uncertainty but also abundant hope. As the car pulled away, the dusty track seemed to stretch endlessly, leading them towards their future, towards a mother waiting with open arms. The cityscape of New Jersey was a far cry from the arid landscapes and makeshift tents of Sierra Leone. The hustle and bustle, the seamless blend of cultures, the towering structures, it was a cacophony of new sensations for Mia and Michaela. As they took tentative steps into their new life, the unfamiliarity was both overwhelming and exhilarating. In the heart of this whirlwind, Elaine was their anchor. Her presence was constant, her love unwavering. But there were struggles, conflicts that rose from the ashes of their past lives. Language barriers erected walls between them and their new world. Even something as mundane as a trip to the supermarket felt like navigating a labyrinth. The clothes were different, the food unusual. There was an underlying fear of making a mistake, of not fitting in. In the midst of these struggles, there was a secret that Michaela held close to her heart. The dream that had been sparked in the heart of a grim refugee camp was now a quiet yearning. Every glance at the worn-out magazine stirred the embers of her aspiration. Her desire to be a ballerina was not just a dream but a refuge, an unspoken language she yearned to express herself in. One evening, as twilight painted the sky in shades of indigo, Michaela summoned her courage. With the magazine clutched tightly in her hands, she approached Elaine. She revealed her dream in hesitant whispers, the words carrying the weight of her hope. Elaine listened, her heart empathizing with the raw earnestness in Michaela's voice. She could see the determination in the young girl's eyes, feel the passion behind her words. The decision was not hard to make. Elaine knew she wanted to give Michaela and Mia every opportunity to pursue their dreams. The next day, Elaine took the girls to a local ballet school. The sight of the dancers pirouetting gracefully across the stage left Michaela and Mia wide-eyed and enthralled. As they watched the ballet shoes twirl and leap, they saw the dream taking form, the fantasy becoming tangible. In that moment, the dance studio was not just a place but a promise of a life they could aspire to. When they took their first ballet lesson, it was not without its challenges. They stumbled, they fell. But they also rose, again and again, their determination undeterred. They may have been outsiders, but they had a world within them, a world that yearned to break free, to express itself in leaps and pirouettes. The dance studio became Michaela's second home. The pirouettes, the leaps, the ballet shoes tapping rhythmically against the hardwood floor, all composed a symphony of dreams that beat in sync with her heart. Her world was divided into two realms, the outside, where she was just an immigrant girl trying to adapt, and the studio, where she could express herself in ways words failed her. Yet, even as she threw herself into the dance with every ounce of her being, insecurities bubbled beneath the surface. Her vitiligo, which she had managed to ignore so far, became a source of self-doubt. She was different, not just in skin but also in style, her African roots giving her dance an edge that was at once captivating and outlandish. Her first performance approached like a brewing storm, ominous yet thrilling. As the spotlight focused on her, the audience faded into a blur. Her heart pounded in her chest like a drum. With a deep breath, she started to move, her body finding its rhythm, her emotions pouring into every step and twirl. It was not a flawless performance. There were missteps, slight stumbles. But the emotion she conveyed through her dance, the raw passion, the heartbreaking earnestness, was something that transcended technical perfection. The applause at the end was thunderous, the audience acknowledging not just her performance, but her spirit. This first dance marked the beginning of Michaela's journey into the ballet world. It was not an easy path. Prejudices, stereotypes, and her own insecurities became hurdles she had to overcome. Yet, with every performance, she pushed her boundaries, chipping away at the barriers that tried to hold her back. The news that she was to be the youngest ballet dancer to perform at the Theater of Harlem hit her like a thunderbolt. It was more than an opportunity. It was a testament to her journey, her perseverance. Standing on that prestigious stage, she was not just Mabindi 27, but Michaela, the ballerina. The journey did not stop at Harlem. With the support of her family and her unyielding determination, she pushed ahead, joining the Dutch National Ballet. The young girl from Sierra Leone who danced barefoot in the sands was now performing on international stages, captivating audiences with her unique style and indomitable spirit. As the years rolled by, Michaela soared higher, each success fueling her journey towards the summit. She honed her craft meticulously, mastering ballet's delicate intricacies and challenging conventions with her unconventional style. Each performance was a riveting spectacle, and Michaela, the African ballerina with the vitiligo, became a force to be reckoned with in the ballet world. Her talent transcended the theater stage, landing her in music videos that drew millions of views. Her dance, a harmonious blend of her African roots and classical ballet, became her signature, etching her name in the annals of ballet history. Yet, amidst the accolades and applause, she remained grounded, her past a stark reminder of her journey. Reflecting on her extraordinary path, she often found herself at a loss for words. From Mabindi 27 to Michaela, the renowned ballerina, the transformation was both overwhelming and humbling. She had traveled far, from the war-torn terrains of Sierra Leone to the world's most prestigious dance stages. But as she pondered her past, it was not the hardships she remembered most vividly, but the helping hands, the guiding lights, and most importantly, the gift of love from a woman named Elaine. Every accolade, every applause Michaela received, she attributed to Elaine. The woman who had given her a new name, a new life, and nurtured her dream of becoming a ballerina. Gratitude was a sentiment deeply rooted in Michaela's heart, often expressed in her dance, but she yearned to do more. She found her chance when she became an ambassador for War Child, an organization dedicated to helping children affected by war. It was her way of giving back, of using her success to bring about a change. She dedicated herself to the cause, visiting war-torn regions, sharing her story, inspiring children to dream despite their circumstances. Michaela's life had come a full circle. Once a war-stricken child, now an ambassador for War Child. But the irony was not lost on her. Instead, it served as a reminder of her incredible journey, a testament to her resilience. Her past did not weigh her down, it was a catalyst that propelled her forward, a beacon that illuminated her path. Did you like this story? Comment below what you think and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.